Hello everyone, myself Harikiran. I am making a playlist called inter- interview questions which are asked in the technical interviews of campus placements. I'm mostly making the videos on computer networks and operating system. Let me explain. Today, let me discuss one of the famous interview questions which was asked in interview from computer networks. It is explain how DNS resolution works when you type a URL in browser. Okay, it's what is DNS. Let me explain and everything in simple words and easy way. First of all, before explaining what is DNS, before explain what is DNS, you need to know what is MAC address and IP address. See, when a device is manufacturing, there the manufacturer assigns a unique address for each electronic device. Every electronic device you find each has different MAC address. It is MAC address. What is IP address? IP address is a temporary address. Actually, it's a temporary address. Suppose you have your phone, you are in office, you think it is your laptop or any electronic device, or you are in office, you connected to office Wi-Fi. when you get exposed to your internet, like if your device get exposed to internet or connects to internet, it get assigns a IP address, a identity. IP address is kind of identity of your phone in the internet. Suppose if you go home and if you use another Wi-Fi, then your device get assigned a different IP addresses. When will be IP addresses permanent or a fixed without changing frequently? Means, like suppose you have a server, you think of Node.js server or any server, you have a server. What happens? You want to deploy it over internet. Suppose let me take AWS. When you host your server in internet, the cloud provider will assign a IP address for your particular server. Suppose this is one server which I deployed in AWS. It's a server which I deployed in AWS. The cloud platform will assign an IP address to identify this address in internet. Okay, suppose if you think it's as a browser, you are where you will type the URL. If you type the IP address which the AWS cloud provider given to your server, you can connect, or you can connect to your server. You can make a request to the server. Means, to connect or to make any request to a particular server, particular website or a server, you need a IP address of it. See this, suppose, let me explain another way. Suppose you have built a website, you need to host this website where you host in a cloud provider like AWS cloud provider, you host it. Then what happens? This AWS cloud provider will assign a IP address such that someone who had internet can access this. You can think it is identity to this website. So to access a website or to make a request, what we need actually? We need IP address. Okay, we need IP address, but we don't have IP address. We have something called URL, like facebook.com, but you don't know what's the IP address of it. Then how can I access it? It's a question. because you know the URL, not IP address. Oh, let me tell this. Well, now the main task is from URL. We have URL. Main task is we need to know the IP address of this particular URL. We need to find the URL. Then only you can access or you can request to this website or server in a AWS or where it is hosted to access it. Okay, we have something URL. Example dot, this is a schema, means protocol, how we can access it, HTTP or HTTPS. This is domain name, means harikiran.com. It's a these are domain names. Through these domain names we need to find the IP address. Okay, when you type this domain name in browser, what does browser do? It goes and search in browser cache, OS cache, router cache, ISP cache. Let me explain what are these cache. Suppose you think you visited harikiran.com before some time, like previously you visited a harikiran.com. What will happen in browser? In browser cache, the IP address of this harikiran.com will be stored. First, it's hierarchical way. In this way, it checks. First, do I have the IP address? Browser checks in browser cache. Do we have the IP address of harikiran.com? It checks here. No. If you didn't find, you say no. Then browser checks in operating system cache. Suppose this is the browser, this is laptop. Inside, when you connected or when you requested harikiran.com previously, think like you have already visited harikiran.com previously. At that time, what happens? Domain name caching takes place. Means for harikiran.com there is IP address like this. In browser do caching and OS do caching. If you not even find in OS in overall system, you didn't find the IP address. Next it checks at router level. This is router to which your laptop connected. Okay, do you have IP address? Do you know or have you stored the IP address of harikiran.com when recently you have visited it? No. It checks no, I don't have. Next, even if you don't find it at router level, it goes and asks the internet service provider. Think of it as a tower or anything, internet service provider. It asks, do you know the IP address of harikiran.com? If you think he visited recently, no. If he said no, I didn't find. Now the actual concept comes in. If you do not find in these browser OS or router or IPS ISP internet service provider, you did not find these IP address of harikiran.com. You did not find IP address of harikiran.com. Then browser contacts, hey browser, these people don't know the IP address of harikiran.com. Please get me IP address. Let me know how IP address I can get of this harikiran.com. Browser contacts DNS resolver. You think of DNS resolver is like a folder. Inside a folder, hierarchical way. Inside there is a file where your website name, your IP name will be stored. Suppose, okay, let me explain. Say high level intuition. Let me explain in more detail. First, it's search hierarchical way. Let me explain. It's search hierarchical way. Let me explain in more simple words. Let me see an example. Suppose you have www.google.com. This is, think of it as DNS resolver. Think it as a folder, initial root level folder, as a root DNS server. You go to DNS resolver, then it tells, oh, go and ask this root DNS server. It is the initial starting step. Okay. What is root DNS server? Here is an example. Here, root server, where I can find information about .com. Suppose root itself, you can find the main root cause like .in, where I can find the information of .com. Like ask root DNS service, where is .com? It sees this one, it's root DNS. You go and ask root DNS, where is .com? This root DNS servers replies, root says, ask .com TLD DNS server. Like you asked me root, suppose this is root DNS. You asked where is google.com. Okay, it first is .com. It mainly thinks of the root then initially. Okay, what you do, then go root DNS says, go and ask TLD DNS server, means top level domain DNS servers. Okay, it is the where .com, and you can think .com as separate folder, .in as a separate folder. Okay, this, think of it's a root level folder. When you opened it, this is a TLD DNS folder. All .com websites are here, all .com. When you ask TLD server, where is google.com, then it says, go to this authoritative. Suppose this is authoritative server. Think of it like .com file as authoritative server. Go and ask authoritative server. When you open this file, it is authoritative service. It's like, I'm giving an analogy. Authoritative service, where you can find the domain name service and IP addresses of it. Domain www.google.com, you will find here. Let me explain once again. Initially, you go to the www.google.com. You go to the DNS server. You ask DNS server. What is the DNS server? Go and ask the root server. Okay, root server sees .com and it forward it to TLD server. You think as TLD server as another folder. In this folder, this TLD, in this .com. Okay, you opened this TLD. inside TLD there is .com, .in, all these websites name, and TLD server says okay, google.com you are asking, no, it will be with .com authoritative server. Okay, .com authoritative servers, tell me what is the IP. This, you search in .com authoritative service, google.com will be located to some particular IP address. This is the high level things, and if you liked it, if you understand, give a like and subscribe the channel. Okay, thanks for watching. Thank you.